won't. They will never. They will never. You know how
Ethan admitting he spoke to a representative at Reddit who told him his community was also harassing people and that they didn't care. The crew was silent and it was deafening. Insane to admit. No self-reflection. Incredible.
compromised Reddit is. I haven't said this before. It's so infuriating. We got a hold of someone at Reddit a few weeks ago, after everything was like peak, like max, crazy. And we told them about all the snark stuff. It was a comms person, and they got back to us and they said, "Well, you guys are harassing people also. You're harassing."
It's true. I mean, it is. It is literally true. The only difference between Ethan and I in that regard is that, one, I never fucking attacked him mercilessly with vicious smears for a fucking year and demanded his deplatforming. And I still am not demanding his deplatforming as opposed to what he has done. And also on top of that, the only time I ever respond is often, with the exception of this very specific moment here, because there's a larger point that I'm drawing on. The only time I ever respond is when he's just making up erroneous fucking claims, or when he's speaking out of his ass about Israel. Meanwhile, he operates a fucking snark subreddit. This is a snark podcast. That's all this is. How is he not understanding that he's not the good guy in this story? It's easy. Narcissism. He's talking about the snark Reddit on him, not about you. No, I know. He went to I understand. He went to Reddit and was like, "Can you take down these snark Reddits about me, please?" And then Reddit was like, "Dude, what are you talking about? Your fucking subreddit is a snark Reddit." Am I wrong? Did I misunderstand that? Isn't that what Reddit basically told him?
People, and they're harassing people. And they said, "Well, you guys are harassing people also. You're harassing people and they're harassing people, so I don't see the difference between your community and their community."
Yeah. And it's ironic because the snark community that he's referencing is his community. It's just fans that he has banned from ever criticizing him. So they just like organically moved somewhere else to, ironically enough, keep watching his streams, but just with a negative lens now. It's so funny that he thinks like, I mean, he also literally said he was going to chain himself to Reddit headquarters, no?
So, I mean, mind-blowing shit, dude.
I mean, it's not mind-blowing. It's only mind-blowing to you because you have portrayed yourself as a victim in all this, in this entire situation. And it's crazy because like everyone will constantly bring up shit that's happening to him that are really fucked up that I do not even remotely entertain and would subsequently immediately punish if I found out that anyone in my community ever fucking did some shit like that. I would, of course, ban them. Okay? There's never been a moment where I've been like, "Oh yeah, calling CPS is appropriate," or anything like that. Or any number of different things that has happened to him. Why would I fucking do that? I have been the recipient of a million things that have happened to Ethan since the beginning of my fucking political career. I know better than anybody else on this planet what Ethan is going through, ironically enough, which is precisely the reason why I would never entertain any of the things that are happening to him. I would never fucking advocate for the things that are happening to him to happen to him. I think it's unconscionable and fucked up. The difference between him and I is that I don't, one, egg it on, two, talk about it publicly, so people just make up their own minds on whether or not it has any impact in my life or not. I've chosen a very different method than Ethan. He said again, Bad Empanada is your attack dog. No, I don't agree with half the shit that Bad Empanada does. Bad Empanada attacks me too. The stuff that I agree with and have defended in terms of Bad Empanada's commentary is pretty clear. He has great research. When it comes down to combating Hasbara, and ahistorical talking points coming from Ethan, he's great. He's fantastic. I'm just a Palestinian fan who like both of you. That's why I consistently comment on it and post. It's very personal. Same reason Ido's made the video. He feels camaraderie and thought it would matter to Ethan. Yeah, no, I don't think he's going to do that. Have you considered just watching his video just so he can let this shit go? You think I'm going to watch an hour-long compilation of out-of-context clips that I've addressed 1,000,000 times over and then address it in real time again, which would probably be really beneficial for me, let's be real. If I announce that I'm finally going to fucking watch the the context nuke, sorry, that would garner a lot of attention. All the clippers would be coming from all around the world. It would be a fucking 2-hour, it would be a 2-hour response, if not a 3-hour response, going through all of the clips that are out of context, showing the full context, explaining why he is being disingenuous, talk about the ahistorical propaganda points that Ethan puts forward. Bad Empanada already did that in the Content Czar Bomba. I've thought about it, yeah. Maybe do that thing where you invite historians and stuff. I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, I was thinking about like using it as a... I was thinking about using this as a teachable moment to have like some call-ins from Avi Shlaim, specifically on the what is it? Fuck. The Aliyah versus the Nakba. Like the 1 million Jews were displaced, ethnically cleansed from their Arab homelands in the process of the Nakba. It's a far greater crime. Are you already only wants you to watch so we can copy strike you? No, I don't think he would do that. I think that would, I mean, maybe, but because he's so oblivious to how his behavior looks to most people. Because if he did something along those lines, like, I think that would become a impossible to ignore position. But the point is that clearly, considering that every single point that he's brought forward, I have addressed 1,000,000 times over, and including some of the points that he made in the context nuke that I directly addressed, that he clipped my response to out of context, it doesn't seem like he's a good faith actor in this. You've addressed everything. Someone with a lot of time could clip your response to every segment at this point. The excuse, watch it so you know what we will talk about, doesn't fly anymore. I know. Yeah. Ironically enough, I've also mentioned, also 1,000,000 times over, that I would watch the context nuke side by side with him. I will watch it with him if he wants to. He was watching your stream earlier with the Pope talking about Gaza. He muted immediately when he realized what the Pope was talking about. Wait, really? Why the fuck was he watching my stream?
What a disgusting group of people that work there. Oh my God.
Why are they? No, they're basically saying you are, if we were to enforce this like no snark rule, your subreddit would go down first. It's much larger, has much more motion, and therefore much more damaging the public discourse in general. I think that's what Reddit was basically telling him. By the way, he's not talking to Sam out of good faith. He said he's going to show, look how I can do what Hasan won't, rent fucking free. Wait, what? I can talk to Sam Cedar. I can talk to Ethan as well. Don't know why he thinks that I'm afraid of him. Is this the new meta that Ethan just like makes up shit and now he's moved on from cowardly claiming like, oh, I won't talk to him. Ethan asked again if Hasan is watching his response video and the whole crew is legitimately annoyed. Why are you so obsessed with what these streamers think of you? Wait, what? Dog, this is not being obsessed with what a streamer thinks of me. I don't give a fuck what Ethan thinks of me. Are you silly? He has become a propagandist for the state of Israel. If tomorrow he just didn't say anything about all of the deplatforming efforts, but changed his output from instead of attacking people who speak out against Israel to speaking out against Israel, I would never fucking discuss it. I would never discuss it ever again. I would never discuss Ethan Klein ever again. He could even stick to weird fucking lies that he keeps making up about me and calling me anti-Semitic or whatever the fuck. What is this?
DSA Atlanta. I know Matt has kept up with some of the Ethan Klein H3 drama, but man, has he lost it completely. Called Sam a racist and just lying about so many leftists. His former wife, IOF soldier, has broke his brain into nothing but Hasbro and Zionist talking points. I saw some clip before I went on vacation of that when the person
Yeah. That chatter doesn't realize you ignore many streamers that try to cause drama with you because they aren't Israeli mouthpieces. Exactly. Like, do you know how many fucking content creators are constantly talking shit? I don't give a fuck. What I give a fuck is when a content creator who is prominent, who has a relatively sizable audience, that is deluding them, that is lying to them about the history of Israel, that is basically doing a form of Hasbro. Yeah, if I talked exclusively about content creators that talk shit about me, I'd be only talking about Asmongold, probably.
And saying that I was pronouncing something wrong or something.
Oh, yes.
And apparently,
yes.
I was trying to mock their handle on IM, referred to it as a moniker,
right,
and then tried to pronounce it in different ways. And
rough word to do that on.
I saw the clip, and it does look bad, but it also is, I think, a rather uncharitable thing. But they seem to be upset at me for something. So
yeah, because you don't think Hasan is a racist, I think, is the problem. If there's anyone who takes a pro-Palestine side that he doesn't think is a racist, it'd be interesting to know about. But yeah, that's embarrassing stuff over there.
It is a little bit embarrassing, but maybe that works.
I hope
There's a lot of stuff that comes out of that. Like I see it, like I get tagged occasionally, not that often. And to be honest, I'm not on Twitter and certainly not over vacation. Or Blue Sky as much as I used to be, that I cannot follow for the life of me. There's just another universe of names and characters that I just honestly like cannot follow what is going on.
I know. Yeah. The only reason I know about this is because of Hasan. And yeah, but I hope he's just like kind of, Ethan just takes a step back. I don't really know him that well, but I mean, it seems like he's not doing that great and maybe needs like a intervention, not like saying it in that
That's
way.
what the IDubbbz video was.
From a friend.
People have been trying to intervene with him
After
as a friend.
What video is?
There's a new IDubbbz video. A guy he did it's called Content Cop HV. But the truth is,
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what does any of those things mean.
I don't know. I've never heard of the Content Cop series, but apparently it's pretty big. But I'll just say, like, people have done that for Ethan multiple times as friends, including Hasan.
Content Cop was not an intervention. It absolutely was. It was far nicer than what Ethan deserves at this point. What are you talking about? And it also hyper focused on like the personal aspect of Ethan's behavior rather than making like larger political points about the ahistorical nature of his commentary, how much he fucking lies, or how he spends most of his time, the finite amount of time he has to speak on an issue as a content creator, most of that goes to shitting on people who are speaking out against Israel rather than speaking out against Israel personally. Like, that's, if Ethan truly was pro-Palestinian as he claims he is, then he would spend virtually no time talking about Frogan or denims or whatever the fuck, or maybe spend some time talking about them if you have disagreements. That's fine, right? But the overwhelming majority of Ethan's time would be spent talking about Israel's atrocities. Only when he's talking about that issue, by the way. I'm not saying he should like not do his goofs and gaffes and exclusively turn. Ne? Baba lütfen gider misin? İnanamıyorum yani. Hayır ya, git lütfen.
On stream, you watched it. Everyone has been overwhelmingly charitable for them, and he has continued to double down in heinous ways, smearing people, being overtly racist against people because they're hijabis. Like, that whole crew and all the people that online, like, whenever I post,
the Content Cop ended with people he severely harassed saying something nice about him and was far more charitable than he deserves. Yeah, but it didn't even work to actually, penetrate his narcissistic barrier. But what I was trying to say, God, what I was trying to say is this, okay? What I was trying to say is that do the goofs and gaffes. Do whatever you want to do. Live your life. I want Ethan to be a happy person, okay? I want Ethan to be a healthy person. I want him to be a happy person. I wish him well. This is my consistent position. It has not changed. Regardless of what he's done to me, others, I want everyone to live a good life, live a healthy life. Because I think if people were healthier, they would most likely not do the stuff that he's doing. Having said that, if you claim that you're pro-Palestine, then show it, then act like it. He just uses being pro-Palestine as a way to try to dance on this fucking tightrope where he gets to say whatever the fuck he wants about pro-Palestinian voices. He gets to say insane shit about Israel that are straightforwardly ultra-Zionist, ranging to liberal Zionist, and then still have people like him and agree with him. Like, he wants to have his cake and eat it too in this regard. At that point, his claim that he is pro-Palestinian becomes a shield for his propaganda for Israel. That's what I'm frustrated by. There are plenty of people who are pro-Israel. If I were to spend every waking moment addressing pro-Israeli speakers, I wouldn't do anything but address people who are speaking on behalf of the apartheid state. The reason why I speak on Ethan is because he claims to be pro-Palestinian and deludes his audience into thinking that he is pro-Palestinian, and that is the only appropriate pro-Palestinian way of covering these issues. The only way to criticize Israel's actions is by constantly fucking shitting on people who are criticizing Israel's actions. Like, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's unacceptable.
Those videos, they'll get into my replies defending Ethan. They're all sick. They're all really sick, and I love telling them so.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to how J.K. Rowling claims to be a feminist, but uses feminism to attack women. Yeah, J.K. Rowling is not a feminist at all. She's only using the moniker of being a feminist as a protective barrier to a select hand-selected few group of people that are still TERFs that actually abide by the feminism, but the narrowly defined feminism of being a TERF, a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. That's what Ethan is doing as well. It's just marketing at this point. They just say that that you're pro-Palestinian, but all the time that you spend talking about Israel is dedicated to shitting on people who talk about Israel's atrocities. That's it.
I just have noticed, and, I can't speak to what Ethan Klein is up to. I have not paid attention, but I can tell you within the context of like my family members who, a year ago, or even, my family members who, stopped following us on Instagram or whatever it was.
Right.
Or friends of my father's who are contacting my dad and saying, is Sam anti-Semitic? They have all basically had to shut down.
Oh,
yes. And have walked away from the entire.
Yeah, except Ethan hasn't. That's the point.
Whatever's going on.
They just stopped talking about it.
They've stopped talking about it. And I would imagine if they were forced to have to talk about it.
Aren't you falling for his bait by talking about him instead of the actual issues? No, not necessarily, because every time I talk about this, I'm also showcasing Israeli propaganda, pro-Israeli propaganda, and how it works. It's important because while there aren't that many people out there who try to abide by Ethan's position on this, where he will claim to be pro-Palestinian, but then almost always attack, like this weird, cynical, supposedly quote unquote liberal Zionist framework. Most of the liberal Zionists have already moved on from talking about Gaza, where they just like are very quiet about the shame that they feel because they can't openly defend it. Ethan, on the other hand, is still on a righteous warpath that he considers to be righteous, while also consistently self-victimizing. He just continues to lash out at those who do choose to talk about Israel. Because remember, it's not just about like how I'm unfairly attacking him or anything like that. He also will spend every waking moment criticizing other takes that I have as well, usually from behind a Instagram story that is very difficult to respond to. Ethan claims to be pro-Palestinian, genuinely had no idea. Yeah, he did. He did. All up and down his context nuke, he claimed to be pro-Palestinian. His new narrative is he was just minding his own business and everything started when Denims and Hassan's community called CPS on him. Yeah, that's also fucking gross. I did not do that, and my community did not do that either. Hasan doesn't need to reply. Ethan made a tragic mistake using the Gaza issue to attack Hasan, which grabbed many people's attention and made videos to correct Ethan. And since Hasan is the center of the issue of it, he gets vindicated as well. The more Ethan keeps going, the worse we'll get for him. I mean, did you see the skull thing from him? Genuinely insane? No. Why are people purity testing the political level of your stream when they don't do that to Sam or other political media folk? You're not allowed to talk about your haters for some reason? Yeah.
Because you have a show that follows the news, and I don't know how much H3 follows the news on a regular basis. But if you had to talk about,
yeah, he literally tried to deplatform me for months before the CPS call, and there was no point where I ever said anything about him or his children, or ever would have entertained something so fucking ridiculous. So it's odd. This really sums up the whole thing. Yeah, 6 million views in 5 days, by the way. What a fucking flop this was, huh? God damn. It's already doubled the view count of the context nuke in 5 days. The like-dislike ratio ain't good. Yeah, the dislike ratio counter is not correct. It can only make a assumption on what it is. The extension is not accurate. But I mean, I think a lot of people just want to feel like it's valid to convince themselves that this is like a dud or something, and that there isn't a lot of people that are not on Ethan's side on this. IDubs confirmed the like-dislike ratio is fake. Y'all are about... What do you mean? Likes versus dislikes since published. 85.7%. Y'all are wild about the like versus dislike ratio. Those numbers you get from extensions are not always accurate. Also, it doesn't fucking matter. Enjoy the video. Well... Australia is turning into America.
This Australian election is...
Oh no, I know. Every country inevitably. What is this? Timestamp 348?
does feel like the election Australia loses its independence to the USA. And that's after a bunch of elections the US directly interfered with. But at least we had our aesthetic independence. Our niche, telling it like it is crowd, used to have their own Australian identity. Clive Palmer used to post about Tim Tams. Now all he posts is pictures of him next to Tucker Carlson, possibly photoshopped in. Like, is that a normal human fist? It looks like a Super Smash Bros. Fist. George Christensen used to do the most Aussie thing ever and fuck off to the Philippines instead of working. Now he's just retweeting Psycho X accounts named shit like Trad West. But the worst offender is Dutton, who honestly lacks the creativity and charisma to
Where is it? Why did you send me this link? Can someone send him the link of E talking about everything happened because of Frogan complaining E unfollowed her? That's such an insane way to recognize your own fault in this.
really properly single.
Where's the point that you wanted me to watch?
white female Trump. So instead, just opting to co-opt the most boring, I guess, worst things about Trump. Mostly the fact that he's perhaps the most nakedly transactional president in US history. If Dutton's Trump and Sam Fricker's Joe Rogan, then I guess that makes me Ethan Klein. That's right, Hasan. I'm not streaming it because I'm too distressed to turn on the camera, but every day I'm secretly having a borderline crash out over the use of the word Zionist. Israel bombing Gaza is about me. I'm the biggest victim. Wait. Second biggest. After Ethan, of course. Sorry, back on track.
Oh, damn. That's a blistering attack. Jesus Christ. What's up, big dog? What are you doing? All right. What is this? His lovers outnumber them. You are insanely calm for having so many dedicated haters. Not sure how you deal with it. More power to you. His lovers outnumber them. He's very successful and wealthy from it. He's sexy as fuck and proud of his body. Most of all, he gets to do what he loves for a living. Yeah, I mean, I have my moral convictions. I know I'm right. I've been fortunate enough to build a ginormous community of like-minded individuals who go out and fucking take it to the streets, go out and do fundraising initiatives, and try to make change that we want to see in the world. Of course I'm going to be fucking calm and collected throughout this entire process, regardless of the endless amount of fucking haters that I cultivate along the way. Most of the time, also, it's pretty easy because my haters end up revealing their indecent nature fairly quickly in the process. So it doesn't continue to be an extended issue. Murat kilo mu verdin diye soruyorlar. Yeah, he says, yep. Also on top of that, I have a wonderful family with the exception of one guy. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm surrounded by loved ones as well that keep me grounded. I talk to normies all the fucking time. That also keeps me grounded. These are all the reasons as to why I don't constantly lose my fucking mind. You know? That's it. Those are the reasons. But most importantly, I think, it is because I know my cause is just, and I know my advocacy is good, and I know that it matters, and I know that it actually has the capacity to make change slowly but surely, marginally, okay? Sometimes it feels like it's impossible. Sometimes it feels like change is impossible, and yet I keep pushing, and so do you, and we do slowly but surely see results. That's it. Dude, you're shaking the whole desk. Mm-hmm.
About it. I don't know how you could reconcile the beliefs you had, in October of 23 with what you've been able to see quite clearly. I mean, really,
no.
In the year and a half.
No.
I think this guy's Jewish too. Listen, even if you're like an anti-Zionist as it comes, sitting across from this guy as a Jewish person is the most despicable fucking backwards shit you can ever do. This guy is not anti-Zionist. He is anti-Semitic. He hates Jewish people. It's not even debatable. Like you ask Hasan that a year ago, he'd been like, yeah, no, he's just anti-Semitic. I mean, it's known. Okay, I'm gonna get more into showing you guys more about this, but like this is why I.
What, Bad Empanada? Is he saying Bad Empanada is anti-Semitic? He hates Jewish people? Who's he fucking talking about? He said he thinks Daniel Monte is Jewish. That's really funny. Poor Daniel. He's not getting the recognition.
I have nothing but disdain for these guys. First of all, this guy Matt Lieb had Frogan on after my feud with her, and again, once again, characterizing me as a harasser. I have never started shit with any of these people.
Oh yeah, they just magically were like, oh, Ethan is Jewish and we hate him, but also Matt Lieb is Jewish but we love him. How does that work? I don't understand.
I've only ever responded to them. And Matt Lieb, he has Frogan on, and he describes me as a Jewish supremacist. And then he has Bad Empanada on. So yeah, fuck Matt Lieb. And I still think he should get fired. And I think that every day that Rhett and Link keep this guy on the payroll is a disgrace to them.
Yeah, Rhett and Link should go out and fire their Jewish producer for being a vocal critic of Israel. That certainly will look good for them. Yeah. Rhett and Link should fire their Jewish producer, Matt Lieb, who has a child now as well. Okay? That seems like the appropriate thing to do. This is what I mean. This is literally like this right here is infinitely worse harassment than and more consequential harassment than fucking Frogan being like, oh man, this guy never shuts the fuck up. Oh my God, on Twitter. Okay, when referring to Ethan Klein. Like, one is back and forth chirping. The other is making a direct demand as a massive content creator with a shit ton of influence, demanding other massive content creators fire one of their employees because of who they've had as a guest. Like, and if they were to go and have fucking Nick Fuentes as a guest, then yeah, sure, there's like validity to that statement. But you're talking about a fucking another content creator, Bad Empanada, that you're claiming is a vicious anti-Semite. No, Bad Empanada goes way too far in terms of how he approaches issues. He certainly goes way too far, but ultimately that's not, you can't just fucking be like, that's anti-Semitism. No, he's going aggressively against you because you keep fucking saying pro-Israel shit over and over again. That's it. He goes against me too. I'm not sufficiently pro-Israel for him either. It's fine. When he makes videos about me, what do? What do I say? I say, I'm pro-Palestinian. I'm pro-Palestinian emancipation. So is Bad Empanada. We have different tactics. We have different methods. It's okay at the end of the day. Ironically enough, I would go so far as to say Bad Empanada basically Bad Empanada basically hits back as hard as Ethan does. That's why he can't handle it. Like, that's why he's mad. Like, Bad Empanada behaves in an insane way, just like Ethan behaves in an insane way. That's it. That's it. And you can't deal with someone giving back the same level of smoke to you. Like, he'll be like, Bad Empanada played that, the Al Aqsa game or whatever, the role reversal Palestinian game. Every game, every video game where Muslims are in the crosshairs is propaganda in the other direction. We just see it as normal, so we don't even think about it, and that's fine, right? But God forbid someone plays the opposite game for once, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. Okay, if you consider that to be anti-Semitic and racist, playing Call of Duty is Islamophobic. That would be a ridiculous woke position to take. That's number one. Number two, Ethan literally played terrorist or Twitch streamer, comparing me to Osama bin Laden to his fucking audience. How is that not insanely Islamophobic? It's ridiculous. There are content creators who I like or have liked in the past and have been somewhat skeptical about in terms of sometimes feeling like they might even broach into territory that could be considered anti-Semitic. Bad Empanada is not one of those guys. He actually is also ironically enough, skeptical of those same content creators as well. The crew defending Frogan? No, really? They're gonna, Ethan's not gonna like that. Hasan's insane reactions in general. Content cop debrief. My insane reactions. Bad empanada being platformed by everyone. Wait, what the fuck is this? Did I just see a photo of myself? Wait, what? What the fuck is this? Dude, this is... Wait, this is photoshopped. Is he...
Inequity, oppression, intolerance, injustice. These are all of my favorite things. Bum, bum, bum, bum.
I always knew Hannah Montana was a little...
Are you against it? Are you for it, man? Why would you just list all that?
Holy fuck, my mind just unlocked.
What is stupid shirt, man?
Oh my god. What the fuck? What happened? What happened to the video? Wait. What just happened?
Yeah. I was saying is that he was part of a fraternity where he just talked about how he used to fuck mad bitches. He used to take them home and raw dog them or something, he said, to paraphrase.
What is happening here? Oh, he hit the button because someone told him it was photoshopped? What? Is this like... Is this the... Oh, gross, dude. Gross. Dude, can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine? Can you fucking imagine if I were to talk like this about him every day? How many fucking YouTube videos he would make about how I have done unlimited harassment that is the most anti-Semitic type of harassment that's ever existed? I don't even talk about his fucking Boston Marathon bombing survivor video. You know what I mean? Like that's what he was doing when he's fantasizing about what I was saying and doing when I was in fucking, when I was like in my early 20s. Okay. He was a whole ass 30-year-old man doing unhinged ass bullshit with a complete N-word compilation to boot. I can't believe this guy says that I'm obsessed with him when, like, I just randomly clicked on a part of his broadcast that isn't even supposed to be about me, even though this part of the broadcast is apparently about me. And he's literally, he's looking at a Photoshop photo, cracking jokes, and then like fantasizing about who I fucked. Very, very cringe. What the fuck? And they're spamming a soundboard of me and shit. It's getting so funny again. It wasn't for a while, but it's looping back around to being hilarious. Yeah, it's fucking psychotic, dude. Calm down, brother. God damn. Okay, where were we? What were we looking at? What did I originally click on? They think that the frat bro angle is a way to get you because that's also what D people think. They think that's your weak spot with progressives for some reason. Yes, dude. I am a very bro-y. I am very, very bro-y. I'm a bro-y guy. I know. That's why there was like, you know, all those fucking, is this on the Joe Rogan to the left ass fucking, you know, think pieces written in this, in that,
like,
in this
you know,
time
I was
frame.
thinking something. This kind of might be true. Tell me what you think. This whole arc, the falling out with Hasan, the breakup of leftovers, The content caught my response. Bad Empanada sent, I don't know if it was Bad Empanada, someone sending us skulls in the mail. I think if it wasn't for Frogan complaining about me unfollowing her, none of this might have ever happened.
What the fuck? Don't you realize that makes you look bad? How does he not realize that this does not make him look good at all? This makes him look really bad. That like all of this was over petty fucking grievances.
It might be a completely total timeline.
Fucking Dearborn,
she
dude.
might
I'll do
be
you
the
one better. This is.
She might be the catalyst for everything.
We have to go back. There's
have
one.
to go back.
There's one too many people I hear from Dearborn, and everything went to shit.
That's it. You can only have what?
Yeah, I
only
mean,
two.
yeah, and it's crazy because this all sort of happened like right after she moved out here, and that's another reason I feel bad too, is because this is a girl who moved away from her family. Regardless of her putting herself in the middle of it, she's out here. She's without family, by herself, and nonstop on the internet. It's just like kill yourself, all this horrible shit.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. As a hijabi Muslim woman who fucking moved as a small content creator to Los Angeles, California, her life literally got thrown into the shitter because she dared to say, hey, I'm a fucking massive fan of you, Ethan. Something I communicated to Ethan Klein as well, by the way, at the time, that like Frogan is a fucking diehard foot soldier back then. And hearing you say certain things about Israel is really hurting my fucking feelings. And for that, she received an endless torrent of Islamophobic nonsense. All the while, she didn't say it to him. She said it in a Discord to her friends. Yeah. And then, and she still receives it. At the time, I literally said, I don't think these are Ethan Klein fans. Because back then I was like, no, they're progressive. They're progressive. I didn't realize how much fucking unrestricted Islamophobia existed in the H3H3 podcast community. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it was in Discord. How did Ethan get fed Discord message, I wonder? Who are the ones stalking her and you at every waking moment? I know. I tried to communicate that to him as well.
So yeah, there's a way to disagree and not be fucking vicious.
Yeah. No. To be fair, I'm totally like. She's far from like she's very obnoxious and she says a lot of dumb things, but I think she's mostly just dumb. Like, and I know that sounds insulting, but I'm kind of trying to like give her a pass a little bit. Like,
oh, so gracious, dude. Oh, so gracious of Ethan to give her a pass by saying she's not an evil terrorist like the way I suggested she has been this entire time. She's actually just a stupid person who's coming across like an evil terrorist. That's cool. That's so nice. He's like, I'm not Islamophobic. I'm just misogynistic and kind of Islamophobic at the same fucking time. God, he is. Right after AB was saying she's faced harassment, he's like, no, I know. She's just dumb. Yeah. Person with a master's who is infinitely more knowledgeable over the history of Lebanon and Israel than Ethan is, for the record. Yeah. Thank you for your charitability, Ethan Klein. Noted scholar of Lebanese history.
Like, she's mostly just dumb. I don't think she even knows necessarily, like, sometimes what she's saying and doing. I know that sounds insulting, but trust me, the alternative is way worse.
She's Dearborn, baby. I'm Dearborn as fuck.
Dearborn born.
Yeah.
She's just trying to pay rent, Ethan. Come on.
That's fair.
You know, before she moved out here, I remember us talking, and she was nervous about it. And I said, at the end of the day, you'll have me and Lena, like worst comes to worst. And then shit just hit the fucking fan.
Yeah, it sucks.
And, you know,
All sucks.
Yeah, shit hit the fan. Ethan hit the fan. He is the shit that's hitting the fan in this process. Like, if he recognized that this was the inflection point, then yeah, the way to manage this as the much larger content creator with a fucking massive fan base of diehards that will go after anyone and everyone viciously in the process of making yourself look like an Islamophobic piece of shit to the remaining fucking fans that you have that do care about those sorts of things, that will inevitably leave your community, which will only spiral you completely out of fucking control. You could have just said, I'm going to take a step back here. I'm going to take a breather, and I'm going to be the bigger guy in my own mind and say, you know what? I shouldn't have fucking started unleashing on this person, and noticed that I have a lot of people that are coming across angry with the way that I'm talking about Israel. I'm going to really reconsider my stance on Israel. Instead of being like, I'm the most knowledgeable person on Israel. You guys are so stupid. It's a fucking multifaceted, multicultural, perfectly civilized, incredible society. Israel proper, of course. Don't look over there. Don't look at the fucking screams that you can hear from Sderot. Don't look at the fucking cloud of smoke or the smell of ash in the air, okay? Don't worry about those things. Israel is multicultural. Oh, are fucking Palestinian citizens of Israel getting black bag because of their social media posts by the Israeli occupying force or the internal police force? Well, that's also that's just a healthy byproduct of being a multicultural, multifaceted society.
Ethan,
It's a real sick fuck.
wake up, Ethan.
Oh, this was rich, man. Again, the cowardice.
Action
Like,
to Frogan,
like, who are you? Okay, let me play it first.
by everyone, including XQC, is so fucking gross, dude. Straight up, you're fucking gross. That's all it is. Everybody acts like Frogan is the fucking Antichrist, okay? And it's so transparent what these fucking losers are doing. Like, you can have disagreements with Frogan if you want, but god damn, everyone is immediately, like, their reaction is so visceral. Is so goddamn visceral. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. This shit is so fucking normalized.
What is? Go on.
Like, Asmongold, XQC. I saw some of them go fucking viral too. It's like, yeah, bro, she's hijabi. I know. And don't even fucking for a moment act like that does. Oh, here we go again. Talking about Islamophobia. Yeah. So fucking normalized, dude. Islamophobia is the most normalized form of racism in the United States of America. This isn't to say that white supremacy, anti-black racism specifically, is not baked into every one of our fucking institutions. It certainly is. But Islamophobia is new in comparison to anti-black racism. So anti-black racism has evolved to become more invisible, whereas Islamophobia is prominent and very visible and still normalized in that same vein. I hate it. I hate that you can't even talk about it without people going, oh, here we go again. Islamophobia, sure. We just hate Islam. We just hate the religion. I'm an atheist. Yeah. Anti-black racism is incredibly fucking subtle in many ways. Like the permissible anti-black racism is incredibly subtle because it has evolved throughout time, because it's at the very heart of American existence, right? You have to dog whistle. It's something that I talk about all the time, right? There's a level of anti-black racism that is permissible. There's a level of misogyny that is permissible. But once you go above that level of permissibility, and that boundary changes throughout time with societal attitudes shifting and becoming more reactionary. But when you reach that boundary of, like, you know, being a Klans member, for example, in terms of anti-black racism, most people turn around and go, ew, that's gross. I don't like that. If you stick to just saying, like, well, I don't know, their culture is kind of violent, that's why we got to police them all the fucking time. Most people, that's still anti-black racism, mind you, but most people will agree with that statement. It's a much easier way to get away with this kind of anti-black sentiment. With Islamophobia, you can literally say, oh, this hijabi Muslim is Jabba the Hutt and is a fucking monstrous terrorist piece of shit. That's it. Why is she a monstrous terrorist piece of shit? Because she thinks that people, understandably, are going to resist being murdered with the bombs that we pay for with our tax dollars. That is enough for people to go, oh, dude, you look like Jabba the Hutt and you're a fucking, you're Osama bin Laden in female form. That's fucking insane. That right there is the equivalent of, you know, doing monkey noise when you see a black person, in terms of open and overt racism, open and overt bigoted statements that you can so easily just throw out there. That's it. This is what I mean. Islam isn't a race, it's a religion. Islamophobia isn't new. There are some schools of thought that suggest that one reason why Islamophobia is so pronounced is in part because enslaved Muslims were organizers for abolition. I don't know about that school of thought, but Islamophobia and the way that it works in American consciousness is relatively new. It initially popped off. It started popping off a little bit, I would say, in the Iran hostage crisis. And then post 9/11, it just unfolded in this like major way. It's a post 9/11 phenomena where there needed to be a steady diet of anti-Muslim sentiment that was recycled through every orifice of culture and society, so that people didn't feel horrible about constantly pummeling this region into the goddamn ground. That's what this is. And in the aftermath of all of that, in order to justify a surveillance state that could just like black bag random people living on fucking U.S. soil and constantly surveil them, constantly harass them, and even throw them in fucking Guantanamo Bay, you had to justify all of that by dehumanizing and depersonalizing Muslims in general, and claiming that they were all barbaric terrorist monsters. What the fuck is wrong? What is wrong about Islamophobia? Aren't you allowed to dislike religion? This is precisely what I mean. It's like saying, what's wrong about anti-Semitism? Aren't you allowed to dislike religion? Islamophobia is racialized, okay? It's not just simply saying I'm critical of the religion. I don't get it. Dude, I don't get it. I'm just criticizing the religion. Why are you calling me anti-Semitic? I'm just criticizing Judaism, dude. Wow, We are the victims always. Wow, fuck Frogan. What the Sigma? Okay, dude. Does not contribute to this. They will say, "Oh, it's because we hate her opinions." Like, no, you reacted that way specifically for a very specific purpose, bro. I hate this. I hate this shit so much. But
he's so great. How is this helping anyone by like running defense for her simply based on identity politics? Like,
shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, Steve Crowder. Islam is a religion, but Islamophobia is often tied to ethnicity and phenotypic expression linked to being able to be culturally Muslim. This is why the first attacker after 9/11 was on a sick man. Exactly. Exactly. A ne kapıyı açtım. Açtım ama bilmiyorum. Yeah, a sick man was the first victim of an Islamophobic hate crime in the aftermath of 9/11 because they falsely assumed that this person was Muslim. Yeah.
let's be real, okay? How is she ever going to improve as a person when all of her friends are continually like, oh, they're only saying that because you're wearing a hijab? It's like, I've only...
Wait, what do you mean? Well, it's because it's true. And the reason why you're defending that is because you also feel the same way as Asmongold does. The hyper focus on Frogan and the great elevation of anything and everything that Frogan does is absolutely due to the fact that she's a woman, due to the fact that she's a visibly Muslim woman. Yes, as I mentioned in the video, she's outspoken, she's brash, she's rude, she has a penchant for drama. All of these things are true. Every fucking content creator is like that, okay? And you might even have disagreements with the things that she says. But the reason why you can't view it in a charitable lens, well, for Ethan, I think it's personal on top of the unlimited Islamophobia that he has in his heart, okay? But the reason why there is this extra hyper fucking focus on Frogan is because how dare she? How dare she be confident? How dare she be loud? How dare she be fucking rude? Doesn't she know her goddamn fucking place? That's what this is. That's what this is. You don't give a fuck. It's misogyny and it's Islamophobia that greatly elevates and makes her this visible figure of visceral disgust. I can't have this conversation with someone who refuses to even check themselves on the matter. This isn't to say that like everything that she does is 100% correct all the fucking time. This is not a defense across the board. Simply saying identity politics is ridiculous. You're hand-waving away systematic forms of discrimination. Ironic because everyone directly argues against the points that you're making and never about your Jewish background, and yet you turn around and turn everything into anti-Semitism. Every criticism against Ethan is actually happening because of anti-Semitism every single time. Things might go wrong in his life. There might be a fucking wildfire happening, and it's Hasan and his anti-Semitic opinions. That's the reason. Oh, I bet he feels great about this wildfire. You know what I mean? Anything that goes wrong in his life, it's it's anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism again. Stub my toe. It's Hasan and his anti-Semitic tendencies that caused me to fucking stub my toe. Like, how can you say this? How can you say this is just identity politics? It's ridiculous.
Ever responded to her, and she is saying heinous, indefensible things every fucking week, bro. Every week. Now, could people be coming down harder on her because she's wearing a hijabi? It's possible, but we wouldn't fucking know because she's inciting it every fucking week. It's kind of hard to say.
I do want to say, unrelated to what you're saying, unrelated to what Hasan has said, I will say, though, on Twitter, and I haven't seen the XQC reaction or anything that Hasan.
You know what's crazy? It's like in the sea of all of the valid criticism of Ethan, do I believe that there are anti-Semitic criticisms of Ethan? Of course I do. Of course. Of course. Okay? Especially initially, especially before October 7, a lot of the criticism that Ethan faced revolved around his drama and the people that felt slighted or felt wrong by him and the communities of the people that he was attacking. Sure. But there was also a big chunk of attacks that he was facing being visibly Jewish, like being a visible Jewish content creator, okay? Being a high-profile Jewish content creator put a shit ton of anti-Semitic crosshairs on him, okay? That's it. He should know this better than anybody else. Try to analyze the pain you're causing to other people by looking at the experiences that you have had leading up to that moment.
I was referring to, but on Twitter, the way this girl is treated is inhumane. Like it is.
Yeah.
Like
I would speak up about it too. Despite obviously she is an enemy of the show and everything, I do get uncomfortable how much I see people just making fun of her physical appearance. Not saying I saw the XQC reaction. I don't know about. I haven't seen Asmongold. I don't know what he's referring to with that. But all of like the photoshops and stuff with her, like you cannot like her, but you don't have to go there.
Yeah, I agree. That's not what Hasan said. I agree though. A lot of
that is what I said. That is precisely what I said. You listened to what I said. And now, because your producers are actually as lightly as possible taking my side and Frogan's side on this, you have to manage the situation and be like, no, Hasan meant something different. Even then, Dan had to qualify it by being like, oh, she's an enemy of the show. Which moment when Frogan publicly praised Osama bin Laden? See, this is what I mean. This is what I fucking mean, dog. This is what I mean. Frogan never publicly praised Osama bin Laden, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? How is it that your misunderstanding becomes someone else's problem? I wonder why this guy's name is Trust Fund 191. Account created 11 minutes ago. Following since 11 minutes ago. I wonder what other kind of wonderful things he's going to say now that I unbanned him in the chat. This is what I mean, though. If you have disagreements with Frogan, fine. Address those disagreements. I am not pro Bin Laden, Lamau. It's insane to take any legitimate political analysis from Ethan Klein. Yeah, this is what I mean. This is like so fucking stupid. How could someone verbally express a dislike for her saying she hopes Vets gets PTSD without being racist? Someone could dislike anyone who said that? Boo fucking who? Chatter Dad, it's kind of funny that you're saying that because what Frogan said in terms of hoping that veterans that don't feel any kind of way about their service have that experience and that pain carry on to their normal lives, okay, to their everyday lives. And then following up by saying, and I do hope that none of the veterans that actually do feel bad about their service ever feel any of that pain, is a fairly common perspective. Shocking that someone with a Lebanese background would have a perspective such as that. I know. Thanks. I was misinformed. Easy fix. That's what started it. Ethan got triggered about TikToks praising Osama bin Laden. That's what set him on this tirade against Muslims and pro-Palestinian people because some Zoomers realized they agree with some of Osama's anti-American sentiment. Frogan didn't do anything to him except get upset that he unfollowed her and complain in a private Discord about it. Yeah. Did this guy come back with a thanks for the unban? Your mods are more sensitive than you. Ha ha ha. No, brother. We know that you have a fucking sock account that you created with the express purpose. Wait. Oh no, this isn't. This is the Wawa guy. This is a different guy, not the sock account guy. This is, okay, prove it. She only talked positively about bin Laden. My bad. She legitimately is evil. Why does she talk about how misinformed people are about bin Laden then? Wait, what are you talking about? Do you unironically think Frogan is pro bin Laden? Is that what you're saying? Like that's your actual assessment. Do you think I'm pro bin Laden? I assume you think I'm pro bin Laden as well then. Ethan said the same shit about veterans.
I'm like so. But I'm like so.
Why is this?
First of all, I'm not like a military simp. I don't get the whole thank you for your service thing. This isn't like World War II. You weren't drafted. You signed up to do a fucking job. You're being paid. You're there.
And the job,
you know what it was. I mean, nobody thanked me and my ass.
Lamont, oh, you missed that, huh? No, she just defends him and calls people who dislike him bin Laden misled. Okay, I'm gonna be as gentle as I possibly can be to you right now. Okay, your own misunderstanding of what someone else's commentary cannot be everyone else's problem. At a certain point, you have to recognize perhaps that you were misguided. Perhaps you saw a clip that was out of context. Okay? We can't entertain your hallucinations here. Rogan is not pro bin Laden. Okay? What the fuck are you saying? What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? You literally made fun of the pro bin Laden TikTok people. It's a video on your channel. Nobody here is pro bin Laden. What the fuck? That's a ridiculous position to hold. It's just a big misunderstanding, huh? Yes. And I'm willing to bet that part of the reason why you think she's pro bin Laden is because not only did you see a clip, maybe you saw a clip, or you heard someone claim that Morgan is pro bin Laden. And there was, I guess, maybe enough aesthetic markers there for you to go, oh, of course she's pro bin Laden. Now, it's good and healthy to try to identify what caused you to be duped this way. What could it be? How convenient. Do you extend the same charity to Ethan? Morgan, a real Muslim name, by the way? Wait, what? No. Answer the question. You don't even have to say it out loud. Maybe you can search within yourself for this answer. Okay? And yes, of course I extend this charity to Ethan. Why wouldn't I extend this charity to Ethan? I've extended significantly more charity to Ethan than this. Also, a real Muslim name. Chatter, I think we're beginning to figure out what your actual gripe might be now that we're walking down the different steps. If someone's name is Morgan, then that's not, they're not a real Muslim. Is that what your claim is? Like, why isn't her name Fatma? Is that your argument? Why doesn't she have a real Muslim name? What do you think is a real Muslim name? It almost feels like you're revealing more about yourself that is helping all of us understand how you could have been misguided into thinking that Morgan was pro bin Laden. Do Americans even know why they dislike bin Laden? Do you think that's a defense of bin Laden? That's what caused you? I wasn't joking. This is the tweet. Do Americans actually know why bin Laden did all that, or do they all believe he hated that they can vote or something? He did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings or readings homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country. Please read his writings before regurgitating tanky talking points, and running defense for a mass murdering, homophobic, anti-Semitic piece of shit. Fuck bin Laden and anyone trying to rewrite history. Yes, Lamau, pretending it isn't is fake as fuck. Okay, chatter, let me ask you something. Do you know the concept of blowback? Are you familiar? Because at the heart of this conversation lies a truth about the point that Mao Wow is making. Not even Frogan. Fuck bin Laden. Yes, I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like I don't think bin Laden is a good figure. Fuck bin Laden is correct. Wow Mao is not pro bin Laden, and neither is Frogan. They would say the exact same thing. I know you guys hate people who hate bin Laden here. No, we don't. We do hate stupid people, though, who think this is a defense of bin Laden. This is not a defense of bin Laden. This has to be a troll at this point. I mean, I think it started off as a troll, but this person also thinks that they're fighting a righteous cause. So maybe don't rewrite history calling bin Laden a freedom fighter. I will give you $10,000 if you can find any moment where I or Frogan or maybe Mao Wow has, as he fucking memes a lot, but I will give you 10,000 USD if you can find a moment where Morgan, in defense of bin Laden, calls him a freedom fighter. Not like sarcastic, offhanded remark about the famous article that I always talk about when I'm covering the background of bin Laden, as he was considered a freedom fighter, boldly paving a pathway for peace. That was written in a, no, you just insinuates it. No, I don't. You don't even know how to fucking spell insinuate. No, I do not insinuate that. There has never been a moment where I've defended bin Laden. Even America Deserved 9/11, my very famous moment of controversy, is not actually defending bin Laden's actions. It's more so criticizing America for allowing 9/11 to happen, the concept of blowback. Maybe one day you will understand that. Yeah. Here. Anti-Soviet warrior puts his army on the road to peace. This is from The Independent. This is a puff piece from Robert Fisk about bin Laden. I have never called bin Laden a freedom fighter or insinuated it. Bin Laden is a Saudi royal family American CIA asset. Why in the ever-loving fuck would I ever consider him to be a cause for good? You're laughing, but this is half your country. I know. No, it's just defending the terrorist attacks. No, it's not. Because you have no way of understanding anything. It is so difficult. You're being purposely obtuse, I think. Or you're just as stupid as we assumed you were from the start. Bin Laden is an American asset, an industry plant, if you will. Okay? He was our guy. We propped him up. The Saudi royal family kept giving him funds to do 9/11. Explaining the historical reference points that led to 9/11 is not defending 9/11 nor defending bin Laden. What does this have to do with your friend's post positive shit about how bin Laden was so wrongly hated? By the way, what's your excuse for calling Muda a fake Muslim? I like that you very quickly realize that you're, even with your dense skull, you understand. First of all, I didn't say Muda is a fake Muslim. Once again, you made that up, and I never even insinuated that. I said that the very same racist forces that hate Muda for being visibly brown, being Indian, and being Muslim are never going to appreciate his commentary, no matter how hard he tries to fence it on genocide. I was saying Muda is a more real-ass Muslim than me, considering he did the pilgrimage he went to Mecca. He went on Hajj. Nope, you're still pro bin Laden. You just hide it better than the fat girl. Muda literally called you a Muslim cosplayer, Lamau. That's so funny. So wait, this guy is mad at me for something Muda said about me? What the fuck? And he's claiming I said the thing to Muda that Muda actually said to me? He never fanced that. He's more of a Muslim. I know that. I recognize that. He is. One must ask why Wow Mao, the fucking guy who tweeted the fucking tweeting question, is not receiving 1/10 of the vitriol directed at Frogan. Perhaps it's because he is an anonymous meme account online and not a visible hijabi Muslim woman. Maybe that's the reason. Anyway, but going back to the point here, I love that I described to you the process in which no one here that you have so far smeared as being pro bin Laden is actually pro bin Laden. And yet, after this back and forth, this conversation that took place for the past 15 minutes, you still went back to, nope, you're still pro bin Laden. You just hide it better than the fat girl. Why? Why would I feel the need to hide it if that was the case? There's a million different insane perspectives that people just fucking throw out there on a daily basis. Why do we have to relearn why we hate bin Laden? You're not relearning why you hate bin Laden. You have not even understood why you hate bin Laden. If you think it's because 9/11 happened because they hate our freedoms, you haven't learned anything. Ironically enough, in my commentary about how TikTokers that are pro bin Laden in that YouTube video that I did that you can go and watch, I mentioned this. This is a common issue where propaganda falls apart. That's why Lamau, that's your boy Wow Mao defended. Wow Mao is not defending bin Laden either. The idea that 9/11 happened because they hate our freedoms is fucking bullshit. That's not why it happened. And if you constantly create the notion that all of these guys are just simply barbaric and bloodthirsty, even if their actions are vicious, barbaric, and bloodthirsty, as 9/11 certainly was, you will never be able to identify how acts of terror happen. You will never be able to analyze why violence occurs. Okay? And therefore, you will never be able to stop future violence from taking place. There's a parallel there for October 7 and Israeli security as well. This is the issue. And the secondary consequence of this is that when you constantly present this as a, they fucking hate us for our freedoms, they hate us because they ain't us, if you think that that is the reasoning, okay, and that's what you tell people over and over and over again, And then when they actually go and, 20 years, 25 years down the line, read his writing, they go, wait a minute, he's actually a brilliant guy, because they're fucking stupid, because they've been misguided into thinking that this is like a bot, an NPC. It is important to understand all of the context surrounding how certain violent actions come about. You're a little propagandist, and yes, he is. He barely wearing a mask. That's why it happened. They attacked African countries first. Is that because America bad too? Oh, Chatter, I can't begin to explain to you like the underpinnings of Salafist terror and why it happens. Is like saying American intervention had nothing to do with ISIS forming. You know what I mean? If you think that it's like, if you think that, ISIS formed because they were just like, they were doing too much Quranic reading. You have the IQ of, you have room temperature IQ, I know you can't because you're a terrible propagandist. You're a little propagandist, and yes, he is. But I'm also a terrible propagandist. Okay, got it. This is not even propaganda. I'm just explaining to you how things take place. I'm explaining to you action and reaction. The very fact that you've been so sheltered from critical thinking leads you to believe that I'm actually doing propaganda when I explain this to you. You want to believe that everything is happening in a vacuum, or everything is happening because people read the Quran. People read the Quran too much, and they got radicalized by reading the fucking Quran. Moving on to ISIS now because you failed at defending bin Laden's motives? No, I didn't. There is an identical through line there. I'm describing to you a concept of hi. Yeah, but I'm gonna end it right now. Don't worry. How are people this delusional? Yeah, you'll see. You'll see the most depraved, monstrous dumbasses. You call yourself a propagandist, but you're not. Oh my God. You don't know what propagandist means. Propaganda is simply voicing your fucking perspective. It is simply marketing. Propaganda doesn't have to be lies. That's your understanding of it. It's fine. I always say I am engaging in agitative propaganda, for example. But again, I'm going down the rabbit hole with you right now, addressing your points as you try to deflect away from the major point of contention. The same underlying material realities and the instability and volatility born out of American destabilization in the region that caused ISIS to form is the same exact reason why Osama bin Laden, which was backed by the same fucking forces, as a matter of fact, was able to make inroads in this regard and get control and garner influence and then inevitably do a horrible terror attack on 9/11 against the United States of America. Okay? Sam Harris giving people a license to do Islamophobia hasn't helped. Dude, like this dude's too stupid to even fucking understand what Sam Harris is saying. This is like entry level shit. Yeah, the article is literally on screen. He's just like refusing to comprehend what he's looking at. I don't think he gets it. Is that why you praise terrorism? Because you share the sympathies of bin Laden? You sound a lot like him right now. America's just so evil it has to be attacked, right? Chatter, I do not praise the United States of America, nor do I praise the terrorist state of Israel. The United States of America is the arch terrorist on the planet. Israel is the weapon that the United States of America wields in the region. It seems like you are the actual terrorism defender here. Anyway, I gotta go because I'm having dinner with my family. But hopefully there was someone that learned something from this process. But I think in the process, we did understand that this person is Islamophobic, especially because I explained to him the fact that he was misguided, thinking that Morgan was pro Bin Laden, or thinking that I was pro Bin Laden. He even openly recognized that I was at least presenting myself as not pro Bin Laden, but I was secretly still deep down inside pro Bin Laden. Why does someone arrive at that conclusion when there are countless hours of my commentary describing why Bin Laden is a bad guy, which is hilarious to even cover? Why? Perhaps there's a different reason. Perhaps there's some underlying bias there that is the reason why he says, no matter what you say to me, I don't believe you. I still think you are pro Bin Laden. That is Islamophobia. Anyway. On that note, yeah, it's good old-fashioned racism, folks. That's what it is. But I think in the process of me having this conversation with him, there are some other people who might have checked their fucking implicit biases that they might have. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.